Hey everyone, welcome back to the Colony Pit, where we catch up with our colony friends and alumni. And we're on with D. Scott. This is part 2, and for all of you that didn't get a chance to listen to part 1, Dennis talks about his time in Colony, class of '94, and having some fun at Hudson Valley, where he was asked graciously not to return, which is the first one I heard of. But then he went on to the radio industry and actually has been extremely successful. So now here we're picking up. So D. Scott, let me ask you this question before we get going. So since you're in the radio business, you get all those free tickets. Now, with some of those free tickets, with the concerts that are being promoted in the area, what's the best concert you've been to?
Good question.
So the best concerts I've been to were well before radio days. We talked about the MC Hammer Vanilla Ice show. That was a pretty fantastic show. I got to see Belbiv DeVoe and everybody that kind of was in that circle. Went to that show with Rennie Charlie Boys. It was a long show. People were late, and by people I mean some of the acts. So I think we got out at 12:30. I think we had fallen asleep on the seats at one point. Saw Biggie and the Bad Boy tour at the Nick at the time. Was Adina Howard, the Loonies, Craig Mack, and then I think Junior Mafia and Biggie closed it. That was a pretty dope show. So yeah, and then seeing Limp Bizkit and Godsmack at the Pepsi Arena was pretty awesome too. But nothing to do with radio. It was I've been a part of some radio shows that I thought were pretty awesome. And that, I think it's more so being involved in the show and being on stage and getting to introduce some of the acts and getting to hang backstage with some of the artists. Got to introduce Simple Plan on stage a couple of times, which was huge for me because I had my run with pop punk. I still love the music as well, but got to introduce Simple Plan, which was a lot of fun. Got to party with Simple Plan the night before Park Fest one year that they were a part of with us. And that was awesome because I got to drive them around and stuff. So
nice. So what would you say is the best arena to go see a concert in your opinion there in the Capital Region?
Well, let's see. Depends on what you're going for. Experience-wise, I would say SPAC. And that's because there's so much of a difference between everything at SPAC. The amphitheater, you're getting one experience. Out on the lawn, completely different experience. Way different. But for a good show, it's the MVP arena. If you're just there for the show. I mean, although no, the Palace is pretty awesome too. That's a great old venue. It's not too big, so you kind of get that intimate experience with the artist or the band or whatever. But I saw it was Ronnie, Bobby, Ricky, and Mike. It was so basically New Edition without Ralph Tresvant and Johnny Gill, and I sat third row for that show, and it was amazing. Even though Bobby Brown is a lot different than he was when he was, he's a little more round now, a little bit more out of shape. But it was great. And then Joe opened for them, and Kid Capri was the opening DJ. It was awesome.
Is there a artist or group that you have never seen that you would like to see live?
Eminem.
Nice.
Without a doubt. I had the chance to see him. I had the chance taken away from me. I was supposed to go to the Anger Management show, which was Eminem and Limp Bizkit were co-headlining it. And 20 minutes before we left the house, my buddy called me. He goes, "Yeah, they just pulled the plug. Fred Durst has laryngitis." So they canceled. And that's how I ended up seeing Limp Bizkit and Godsmack, because by the time it rerouted back to Albany to make up for what they did, Eminem had become Eminem and also was not really seeing eye to eye with Fred Durst. And so he was off the Anger Management tour and probably at that point on the Up in Smoke tour. Picture
I
fell
think that's
down.
a ghost.
Okay. Everybody okay?
I'm fine.
All right.
Probably not going to sleep for about a week. My heart's a little bit racing. So there's that. But I knew that.
I think
was
we just got our first blooper on the Colony Pit.
So, but yeah, no, Eminem live would Eminem or Jay-Z. I would like to see Jay-Z live too.
Cool.
So wait, so you're saying Godsmack and Limp Bizkit actually were in the same concert venue?
Yeah,
when you saw them? Oh, no
yeah,
kidding.
that was the it was Anger Management, and it was just kind of Godsmack jumped on it after Eminem had left, and I think DMX was supposed to be there, but
Oh, wow.
DMX on any kind of concert ticket may or may not be there. Well, not now. He's definitely not going to be there now. But I mean, but I think he was supposed to be.
He was. I went to that concert. I remember that. And who replaced if it's the same concert I'm thinking this was probably like 99-ish, somewhere around there. Run DMC replaced them at the last minute, because that's where I saw Run DMC.
Really?
At the
so the show I was at, Run DMC wasn't there. It was some hair band that was there.
Oh, all right.
And there ended up being no hip hop on the show at all.
Gotcha.
And it was, but then Godsmack. So it was this hair band that I didn't know. They ended up like with some winners and like playing video games with these guys. And then Godsmack came out and just absolutely crushed. And then I was like, well, good luck, Limp Bizkit. Say what you want about Limp Bizkit and Fred Durst, but wow, they put on a show. It was amazing. Like I was blown away.
So let me ask you this question. So who do you say is like a great performer? Because like with Godsmack, I think I saw Godsmack in concert like 5 times. Mm-hmm. So I've seen them play, and then Rob Zombie was another one where, again, you may not like his music, but performance-wise, that guy's a great performer. Like, you're entertained the whole time you're there. And of course, your surrounding people are literally like characters from Star Wars movies. You're like, where are these people from? I mean, it's an interesting crowd we're get. So like, who would you say is like a great performer? You're like, wow, like for the whole time that person or that band was on stage, like they're just incredible with everything they did.
I mean, I'll go back. Godsmack and Limp Bizkit both put on a hell of a show in their own ways. Musically, Godsmack was just so good. They sound, it was album quality that you were getting. Wow, there's so I have Hammer was amazing. That's constant dancing. Believe it or not, NSYNC put on a hell of a show. I went to their show, and their 2 shows at the Knickerbocker Arena when they played there, and they were a lot of fun. And it was through a lot of people saying, they lip sync, and this they don't. They perform, they dance, they sing. They put on a hell of a show. Green Day too. Green Day is amazing live.
Cool.
Nice.
All right, let's shift gears here. Let's talk a little bit about the podcast you work on. I'll let you tell the audience the different podcasts you're involved with and how you got started with them.
All right. The podcast world kind of came about through the Psychic on the Scene podcast that I am a kind of a co-host, but more so the producer. It's all things paranormal, I guess. Katie Manning and Michelle Lyons-Polito are the 2 psychic mediums on the show. We talk about anything from cold cases to folklore type stuff, whether it be Mothman, Bigfoot. We talk about UFOs. We talk, kind of self-healing and Reiki, stuff like that. Mm-hmm. Ghost stories. We love telling ghost stories. We call them ghost stories, spooky stories and stuff. We do a lot of stuff where we'll ask our listeners on Facebook to share their stories, and then we'll share them on the air. And we do a lot of location stuff with that as well. Like I just recently was at Amsterdam Free Library, which I had no idea was haunted, but it was or is. Been to the Knox Mansion. Don't recommend going there. Not for any other reason. We'll just say it's haunted. Yes. But my experience there was less than spectacular. Where else have we been? I mean, we've been to a bunch of different haunted locations and stuff. So cool. That one's been a lot of fun. We just crossed 5 years with that show. So,
oh, wow.
Yeah,
so in the capital region, where's some haunted houses that we, people in Colony would be kind of shocked and surprised to know about?
Albany Rural Cemetery, which is one it's the oldest cemetery in the area. When everyone talks cemeteries, they talk Troy. They'll go to
Yep. Was it Oakwood?
Oakwood's one, and then there's Forest Park
Yep.
Cemetery, also known as Pinewood, which it's Forest Park. It's on Pinewood Drive, which I think is how that got that. Both very haunted as well, but Albany Rural, Chester A. Arthur is buried in there. A lot of dignitaries from Albany are buried in there as well. The Capitol Building, Tenbrick Mansion, Powers Pub is actually haunted up in Clifton Park. Vale Cemetery. In Colony, the Shaker Grounds are haunted. It's over by where Heritage Park was. All those, there is a lot of stories that come out of there as well.
Okay.
Wow. And you actually seen a ghost? Sorry, Rex, but I was just curious. With all this, have you actually seen a ghost when you're out here on assignment, or you saw something? You're like, I guess you could say whatever it was, it wasn't I guess normal. It was something that it was
paranormal.
For instance, like your that picture that fell. Were you ever someplace and all something like that happened?
Oh, the picture that fell was because of the lack of sticky on the hook. So that. But I haven't seen any, apparitions or anything like that. I've felt things. I had a very strange experience at Albany Rural Cemetery. Walking up to, they have what used to be, I guess, for lack of a better term, cold storage. Because when the cemetery was founded, there wasn't heavy equipment. So in the winter, people don't stop passing away just because it's cold out. So they needed someplace to put the bodies. Well, we were walking up towards it and heard a loud bang as we walked towards it. Couldn't really explain the sound. And then one of the guys I was with had what felt like a bowling ball fall right by his foot. And we heard another bang. And from what I was told, now I didn't see this, but Katie and Michelle were with us. And they said that when they walked up to the gates and put, kind of looked in, it stepped out of the shadows. It was a clove-hooved with ram horns demon, 2 legs, two all black, 2 feet, but they were clove-hooved. And then it had like the ram horns on it. Didn't want us there.
Wow.
And the bangs that we heard was it stomping its foot to kind of warn like a bull before it charges type thing. Other than that, I've been poked at the Knox Mansion, as a matter of fact. I was no one behind me, 2 other people in the room I was in, and they were both in front of me. And I felt something poke me just under my left shoulder blade. When I got back downstairs, I told Katie and Michelle about it, and they were like, pull your shirt up. It's like, weird. But I did, and I had a scratch about that long on my back.
Wow.
And that was the poke. I guess that's when you get scratched by a spirit or an entity, it feels like a poke, but it's a scratch.
Okay.
Wow.
Tell us about the other 2 podcasts you got.
I do one with the guy that you've had on before, with Frank Ferraro and Bobby Fish. We all know Robert well. The Undisputed podcast with Bobby Fish. I kind of fell into that one. It was kind of funny because I've known Bobby. Bobby and I have the same birthday. And his mother and my mother were actually roommates at St. Peter's Hospital. So I say I've known Bobby since birth.
Yeah.
But, growing up, we were friends. We played t-ball together and stuff. I played t-ball for his dad, and he was on the team as well. But we kind of ran in different circles in high school. We've always known each other. And I didn't know Frank at all. And through Matt Halleck, kind of got involved because the 4 of us were supposed to do a podcast where it was, the drawing power of Bobby being a pro wrestler and the stuff we had going on with Halleck's Hitting Garage at the time. And then Frank and I just kind of fell into it a little bit. We had a great rapport all together. We could all joke and carry on. I could talk to anybody. So, and then Matt ended up backing out and it became the Undisputed podcast with Bobby, and Frank and I are there. And that's been a lot of fun because I've gotten to be a part of conversations of people that I was like, how did I end up in this room? between
Right.
us talking with Jake the Snake Roberts or Rampage Jackson or Eric Bischoff or Mojo Rawley, who was a former pro wrestler but now works for TMZ Sports. Any of them, and just listening to Bobby talk with other wrestlers and other guys in that realm is interesting, because I was a wrestling fan growing up. I mean, the Hulkamaniac, which I apparently have to be on the show. Frank makes sure that card carrying members of Hulkamania. So it's been a lot of fun, and
cool.
Getting to do some stuff and be a part of, like, we just had that WrestleMania podcast that we put out where Bobby was in Philly and Frank was on a cruise, and I was sitting where I am right now with no pictures falling at the time.
Right.
And
Nice.
and that was, and Karrion Kross joining that show, and it's been an
Cool.
interesting ride with that show. So
nice. Well, like we talked with Frank, we got you on now. We've already had Frank on, so we got 2/3 of the Undisputed on individually. We've got one left, Bobby, who we're working on, and we'll get him on individually. And as we talked with Frank, maybe if the stars align, we'll put all three of you on the Colony Pit at once, and we'll do a mega cast. And
that would be interesting. I'll tell you what, getting Frank and I is the easy part.
Right.
So yeah. We fun story is we were supposed to record Tuesday night, which in our world, in present time, was yesterday, and nobody came on. And I texted everybody, and then Bobby this morning was like, "Sorry, I forgot." I was like, "Of course you did. We record every Tuesday." So yeah, but no, it's and I love them. We're having a lot of fun doing that stuff. We got one coming on May 31st at the MVP Arena. We're actually going to be in the Stadium Grill, I think it's called, which is the restaurant attached to the MVP Arena. SmackDown is in Albany that Friday, the 31st, and we're going to be recording our podcast live during SmackDown. So,
nice.
Cool.
It'll be a lot of fun. There's VIP tickets to that, and you can get up close and personal. And I'm assuming people are going to want their photos with Bobby, not so much Frank and I. But I don't think anybody knows who Frank and I are. But I think we're part of the package. So congratulations, you're getting a picture with me, Bobby, and Frank. Yay!
You're on the team.
Yeah,
the team is a team.
Yep. So
cool.
I know when we launched a few of the what we call dirt sheets, when it was called the Undisputed Podcast, there was a lot of thinking going on that it was going to be the Undisputed Era with Bobby and Kyle O'Reilly and Adam Cole, the guys that he ran with in the Undisputed Era. And it was me and Frank, and it had to be mostly disappointing to those people that I'm not Kyle O'Reilly and Frank's not Adam Cole, I guess. So, but no, it's been a blast doing that show.
Awesome.
Nice.
What about your solo podcast, real quick?
Oh, it feels like this is all I do is podcast and talk on the radio. It's called Inside the Mind of D. Scott. So it's just me. Every now and then I'll have a guest on. I did one just after the Colony boys had gone undefeated, the basketball team. And I think, it was actually, I ended up doing the show just after they lost to Green Tech. And it was just kind of giving props to the boys and not, making sure they knew that they kind of brought the community together in doing what they did as the only team to ever go 20-0 and the first team to go undefeated since the 70s. So I did that, and then I piggybacked that with Mike Keene, who joined the show, so we could talk about the Raider name going away and bringing in the Wolf Pack, and because Mike's highly involved in the district and is a school board member, stuff like that. So I've had guests. Derek Hoffman's been a guest. It's funny that I mentioned, I think I said during that show I did with Mike that he was my favorite guest, and Derek, who's a very good friend of mine, works out in Hollywood. He's a movie producer, he's had his hand in the X-Men movies and stuff like that, and actually kind of got into the business under the tutelage of Richard Donner, who, if you're a movie guy, was the Goonies and Superman.
Superman.
Stuff like that. So Derek listened to that episode and then yelled at me through text because he's like, dude, it kind of hurt my feelings. I was like, fair enough, but I've had other guests on too. Like Halleck has been a guest. Macy Tremarky's been on the show to talk about some stuff.
Cool.
But it's me just kind of talking smack. I mean, that's really what it's just kind of, the name of the show came about because it was a way for me to speak my mind and kind of say things I can't say on the radio. But that one's a lot of fun too. I think I'm over 100 episodes deep on that one. Been doing it for a few years. Wow. But the listenership isn't quite what the other ones are, which I don't care. For me, I don't go to therapy, but this is kind of a form of my therapy because I get my stuff out, so I'll talk about my kids. I'll talk about the Yankees. I talk about sports. I talk about whatever's on my mind. So,
well, this is John and I's therapy too. So, I mean, we're all in it for some reason,
right.
But, cool.
Now, is this the cause of your therapy or is this your therapy?
A little bit of both sometimes.
Okay. Yep.
Yeah. It works both ways.
Yep.
Yeah. Just depends on what day it is and who the guest is, I guess, Talk to us a little bit about the work you're doing with the Firebirds.
So that kind of came about because, I mean, if you're paying attention in Colony or you're still in Colony, you know that Mike Horta was part owner or majority owner of the Albany Empire. Let's not talk about the Antonio Brown fiasco, but also the president of the Empire and now the president of the Firebirds is Jeff Levac, who I graduated with both Mike and Jeff. While the Empire was still a thing, random text from Jeff, hey, we're doing a block party. Any chance you want to DJ? Sure. I was just starting out as a DJ. You would think the amount of time I spent in radio, I probably should have picked the DJing thing up a little bit earlier as a side hustle. But I had just started. I was DJing the camps for Halleck's Hitting Garage. Started doing that. Did it all the way. Once Mike and Jeff were out at the Empire, it was like, not that I was going to be asked back, but I kind of just made it known that I was done. I didn't want anything to do with what was going on moving forward. I try to protect my brand, whether it be the radio station or my name, as best I can. So getting involved with Antonio Brown was good. I was like, okay, I'm all right, thanks. But now Firebirds kick off, and Jeff has reached out, and I'm DJing a few of their indoor block parties. So I'm looking forward to doing that. Nice. It's a lot of fun.
Now, when you say indoor block party, where is it, like in the arena block party, or how does that work?
So now at the MVP arena, they have more of an atrium. Like before, it used to be open air type thing. You kind of walk in. It was covered, but there weren't doors, anything like that. They've enclosed it, modernized it quite a bit, and so we do it right in the atrium of the MVP arena. So there'll be vendors in there, the cheerleaders, and whatever they're called at this point. They'll be there. I'm playing music. The guys from the Firebirds players will come out if they can. There's merch, there's food, there's beer. So they're a lot of fun. They're not as well attended as like the block parties are, because they'll do them right out on Pearl Street. They shut it down and just kind of have they have food trucks and vendors and people hanging out and drinking and stuff. That's a lot more money to do that because you got to close down Pearl Street. So
right, yeah.
And I'm a lot cheaper than a band,
but more entertaining.
Well, I don't play cover songs. I just I can play the originals. So
cool.
And you're also a DJ for Halleck as well?
Yeah. Yep. So Matt was the one that really got me started in DJing. The first go at Halleck's Hitting Garage, he did a couple of events in Colony when he was in town, and he asked me to come play some music because obviously he's busy doing stuff, but he wanted the Halleck's Hitting Garage experience to be a little bit different than you're going to get where it's just an instructional thing. Because we've all been to camps in some way, shape, or form, and it's a lot of sitting and listening to coaches teach, running drills, or doing, practicing this, that, and the third. Matt wanted to bring a little bit more to that. So the first year I did it, I kind of just plugged my phone in. I had speakers, plugged my phone into a little mixing board, played a playlist. We kept going. I said, the next time we do this, I would rather have the control of the music. And so instead of making a playlist, I want a DJ equipment. So I got a controller, which is now it's nice because the controller is the 2 platters for your turntables and then also the mixer itself, all in one piece of equipment. Yep. Got the laptop, got the DJ program, Serato. A friend of mine is a DJ. He came over with his library of music and just took his hard drive, cleaned it, put it into a memory and then put it on my hard drive. So he gave me all his music. I also subscribe to a couple of different music sources that I can use. And then we started really, we ramped up the second year with Halleck's Hitting Garage and I had a DJ and I was playing music for these kids and turned that into D. Scott Entertainment. So I DJ weddings, I do private events. But I am what's known as the resident DJ of Halleck's Hitting Garage. Awesome. Because he doesn't know any other ones. So
right. That's cool. If someone wanted to hire you as a DJ for an event, whatever it may be, a party or whatever, what's the best way to get in touch with you?
You can message me on Facebook, Dennis Rymanowski. I have a D. Scott page, but I'm more active on the Dennis Rymanowski page. So if you need me, you can always message me there, or you can always email me. It's dscottradio, DSCOTT radio. I don't think I should have to spell that. At yahoo.com.
Yeah. I think we're good on that.
Yeah.
Even the Vikings got that one, right? Cool. John, do you have any other questions for Dennis before we get into our colony wrap up?
Yeah, so I was just going to say, is it possible for the Colony Pit to get those Pitbull tickets that you have going on there right now?
I will not go on record with an answer there, but we can talk.
Anything's possible, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Not the tickets I'm giving away. No, I can't do that. However, I know plenty of, I know people.
You're a Pitbull fan, John?
Awesome. No, I was just going to say with, with all our subscribers and everything, we're getting that cult status, I think, there with getting some Pitbull recognition will bring us to leaps and bounds. But Dennis, let's get to the end of this where we'll get a little bit colony with you here. So let's start off with this question. You just turned 21. And now you're going to go out to celebrate. Where are you going to have the celebration? Are you at Ziggy's in Latham, the infamous Michaels, WT's, Bogey's, Doc's, Tommy's, the Big House, or the Rusty Nail? Where are you going to celebrate your 21st birthday? Or where did you, if you had it?
Well, no, I don't remember where I was for my 21st birthday. It was probably Troy, to be honest with you. I think when I actually turned 21, we were doing we lived in Troy, Lansingburg. Sorry, I know the Lansingburg and Troy people get weird about their stuff. So we were in Lansingburg. But listen, don't tell anyone from Lansingburg that they're from North Troy. They're not.
Yeah.
It's not true.
Ooh.
But no, we did a lot of, I'm pretty sure I was on Broadway or the waterfront. But with the options you gave, Big House.
Nice.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. John, do you remember where you were on your 21st birthday?
Yeah,
I do. I know where I was.
I was in Oswego on my 21st birthday, and that's a conversation we'll have offline. But yeah, it was it was a night that didn't end until 10 o'clock the next morning. So we'll have to do that on one.
Yeah, I was actually in Colony. I was at party on the patio at Garcia's on a Thursday night. Yeah.
Nice.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Yeah. So anyway, favorite sports movie, Dennis? We got Rocky, Hoosiers, The Program, or A Field of Dreams?
That's a tough one. That's a tough one. I would say Field of Dreams with a honorable mention to Hoosiers.
All right. Well,
nice. All right. So back in the day, what was your gaming console that you had in your house? Was it Atari, Nintendo, ColecoVision, Intellivision, Jaguar, or the infamous Sega Genesis?
I had 3 of those. I had Atari, I had Genesis, and
Nice.
there was another one. I don't remember. My memory's not my memory is a close second to Bobby's. But it was either Atari or Sega. And then
Okay.
What's your go-to game?
I went on the PlayStation run. So.
And what was your go-to game back in the day?
Ooh. And then I had Nintendo too. So it was. Oh man, Nintendo would have been Tecmo Bowl. Sega Genesis, there was like a street ball, like not NBA Jam, but there was a street ball game that I used to play all the time. Atari, I don't think it mattered. I was so young, I didn't care. It was just Pitfall, probably, if I had to guess.
Yeah.
Nice.
Favorite place to buy sneakers back in the day? Foot Locker, Lefties, Herman's, or Sneaky Feet?
Out of those choices, Foot Locker. Was there one
we didn't mention that?
Oh, Champs. It was a Foot Locker or Champs kind of guy. Yeah. Herman's, gotcha. I don't remember. Actually, Herman's was only around when I was like young. So I don't remember their sneaker selection at all. I know if we needed like baseballs or tennis balls or something, or wiffle balls, because we played a lot of backyard and/or street baseball, wiffle ball, and that's where we would go. But Foot Locker or Champs were the 2 spots for me to get my kicks.
All right.
Nice. So where are we going to find? Nice. So where are we going to find you at? The Altamont Fair or the Tulip Festival?
Then Altamont Fair.
Gotcha.
Actually, probably now the Altamont Fair. Tulip Festival. Unless I got to work. Like, I don't want any part of that at all. It's so crowded. So it was like, I'd rather go to the Altamont Fair and get stuck in the grass parking lot.
Gotcha. Last question. Who are your 5 favorite rappers ever?
Oh.
Not necessarily who you think are the best, just who are your personal 5 favorites, either solo, groups, whatever. 5 of them.
All right, 5. Eminem, Biggie, Jay-Z, Third Base.
MC Search.
Actually, in Third Base, it would have been MC Search was my favorite of the 2. Pete Nice was just kind of there.
He was living up in Clifton Park, yeah. But anyway, we won't get on that. Yeah, we got one more.
Running a sporting goods store, or sports memorabilia. Wow, one more. Let's see, Dennis. Think. I always get stumped on. You know what? It would probably be like EPMD.
Nice.
No, Snoop Dogg. I'm sorry, Snoop. With an honorable mention to EPMD.
I was thinking Tribe Called Quest was coming out, but
I liked them.
Yeah.
But I never really spent a lot of time with them. It was a few of their Electric Relaxation I like. Scenario, obviously, it was just okay. But it was everybody there. And Black Sheep too, with the choice is yours. So.
Nice. Awesome. All right. Well, Dennis, thanks for spending some time with us on the Colony Pit.
Thank you.
And as a reminder to everyone watching, please give us a like, a subscribe, anything to make us feel that someone's watching out there. John, any comments for our audience?
No, we appreciate it. And D. Scott, thanks again for taking the time. Much appreciated. And for all those people out there, Dennis gave you a lot of good places to hear him at. So definitely give a listen to. And I'm definitely going to hear that paranormal stuff. That sounds pretty interesting. So on that note, until next time, everyone be safe, and we'll talk to you guys again soon.
Thank you.